Yo, what's up, Broncos country? How's it going tonight, guys? So me and Muhammad wanted to jump on here tonight and get do the record predictions for tomorrow's game against the Las Vegas Raiders, and a couple more things we wanted to get into. So first of all, Muhammad, what I wanted to touch on before we start giving our predictions and everything else is that the Broncos are 6.5. I think 6.5 point favorites tomorrow against the Raiders. They're almost a touchdown favorite against the Raiders, which is obvious anyway. The Raiders are literally tanking. It
Yeah.
seems like at this point. Um, Looks like they're trying to get Shador, but looking at the draft order, they got like the Titans in front of them. They got a couple other teams in front of them that are going to be taking quarterbacks. So good luck with that one. And the point, the over under for this game is 42 points. What is your thoughts on this, Mohammed?
I mean, Eddie, it's actually surprising that we're actually kind of getting recognition where we're, predicted to win the game. That doesn't really happen, right? Um,
Not very often.
yeah, I mean, Eddie, like you just look at the whole game. It should be like a piece of cake for the Broncos, to win this game. It's not hard. I mean, I'm looking at they just suck, man. They're terrible. Every area, like I'm looking at, they're terrible. However, the Broncos shouldn't take this game, lightly, because it could be a trap game if we start thinking, oh, and we're not prepared. That happens. I'm not saying it would happen, but I'm just saying we have to be careful, not just thinking that it's going to be as easy as everybody predicts it to be. But yeah, I mean, Eddie, like seriously, like nothing is standing out for me. Max Crosby, I don't know if yeah, I guess he's playing. That's probably it. Like, who else do they have? Nothing.
Brock
They're
Bowers on offense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're yeah. God, I forgot about him. The tight end. He's very dangerous. But other than that, Eddie, like I'm not seeing anything like their defense. They're weak against the run. We should definitely run the ball against them. Their O line is suspect. You know. I don't see anything. I don't see any area where they're doing really well that I'm gonna be afraid of. Just gotta watch their tight end, and I think we should be good.
Yeah, 42 and a half points. I was looking over the stats today. The Broncos, let me look it up here. I just had the stats on paper here. The Broncos average about 21.5 points per game. The Raiders, they average about 18.7, almost 19 points per game. So I think the over under is pretty close. I think the Broncos are probably going to score a lot more than 21. I
Yeah.
understand divisional rival games are a lot harder than other games, but I mean, come on, the Falcons are a more well-rounded team. They're going to win their division. They're going to make the playoffs. We absolutely just, I mean, who are you more scared of? Are you scared of Aiden O'Connell or Garner Minshew or Kirk Cousins? Like, who are you more terrified of? I'm
Perfect.
more
Yeah.
scared of Kirk Cousins. And honestly, the Falcons have more weapons. They got Kyle Pitts, they got Drake London, they got Bijan Robinson. Like they got players. Like you said, and I said, the only player they got on offense really is Brock Bowers.
Mhm.
And the Broncos hung 38 on the Falcons last week. Like it's insane to me that the over and under for this game is only 42 points because I believe the Broncos are going to score a lot more than that. I mean, unless they're giving props to the Raiders, they're probably going to score more than 10 points. But that's a wild statistic to me. But here's the stats I wanted to read off to you, Mohammed. I wanted to get your thoughts on this real quick. Like I said, Broncos 21.5 points per game. The Raiders get about 19 points per game. Passing yards per game, the Broncos get about 210. The Raiders get about 231. Here's the difference though. Like, and the Broncos rank 22nd in passing yards. The Raiders rank 21st. So we're about one behind them. We're one position behind them. We rank 18th in points per game. The Raiders rank 26th. Rushing yards a game. The Broncos have 106 or about 116 per game. We're 14th. The Raiders 75.2, and they're 32nd in the league. So they can't run the ball. They can pass the ball a little bit better than they can throw it. I mean, they can run it. Sorry. Um, Defensive sacks on the year, the Broncos have 39, which is first in the league. The Raiders have 19 and they're 29th in the league. And lastly, defensive interceptions on the year, the Broncos have 8, which is considered 12th best in the NFL. The Raiders have 5, which is considered 25th in the league. So outside of the passing yards a game, um, the Broncos beat the Raiders in every statistical category. And the Raiders are only beating us in the passing game by like, they're only one ahead of us. Like, I think, and that shows a little bit because Bo Nix, having a lot of these, at the beginning of the season having like 100-yard games. But as we've seen over the last couple of months, he's starting to get into a rhythm, and he's throwing for 200 yards a game. Last week he threw for over 300. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow he throws for another 300. But with those stats, what are your thoughts, Mohammed?
See, that's what I'm saying, Eddie. Like, I mean, I don't really see any. Like, I don't fear them. There's really nothing that pops out to me when you look at the stats, or when you look at what their weaknesses are. I mean, it's not like they're gonna be able to run the ball anyway. I mean, we're decent as far as like protecting the, like as far as like the run game and stuff. You're not gonna run the ball on the Broncos. They can't do that anyway. Oh, you're gonna throw the ball? Good luck. They're not, I mean, seriously, like they're not gonna. I don't even see how they're gonna score some points. You know, it's gonna be a really easy game for the Broncos. And that's why I think the Broncos should just run the ball. Run it. You know, maybe pass it a little
we,
bit.
we've been saying that all year, like, especially at the beginning of the year. Broncos country's like, with a young rookie quarterback, like, hey, run the ball. Let's run the ball more and, like, take the pressure off Bo Nix. Like, I have to disagree with you, Mohammed. I don't think they're going to run that ball that much. I really don't. Nix is starting to catch fire. Him and Sean are working real well together after last week's game where he, threw over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And honestly, over like the last month and a half, he's had, I think, like the last 8 games, he's had like a turnover worthy percentage of play or turnover worthy plays of like 2.2%, which is like the lowest in the NFL. They're going to sling it. The Raiders secondary is garbage. I mean, the Falcons was a little bit better, and Bo Nix went off against them last week. Like, Sean Payton's going to be slinging that ball. Him and Bo Nix are like, I would not be surprised if we see close to a 400-yard game from Nix tomorrow.
The Raiders are gonna get cooked.
They're going to get destroyed. Like, we already beat them once, and how bad did we beat them? What was it? Like, the final score was like 34-18.
Yeah.
I mean, they got that garbage time touchdown at the end of the game, but dude, it's not going to be pretty for the Raiders tomorrow. It really isn't. Like,
I want to see Estimate run the ball. I mean, come on. If we were gonna run it a little bit, let it be Estimate. Come on.
yeah.
Javante. Just I want to see more of that. That'd be good to
No,
see.
I agree. I agree. I just don't think we're going to see more of a passing offense tomorrow. It's not going to be as much run pass balance. With Nix starting to get better, him and Sean Payton heating up, Bo Nix being more comfortable, the Raiders secondary being absolute garbage. And after Bo Nix's performance last week, Sean Payton is going to, I would say tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, 70-30 passing, maybe 80-20 passing. That's what I feel like tomorrow's going to be. He's going to go out there and let Bo Nix shine. He's going to build his confidence more, and he's going to be like, see, and I think we've talked about it before, Muhammad, Sean Payton's ego. He's going to want to freaking let Bo Nix go out there and sling and be like, huh, you guys said he was like, the worst quarterback in the draft or one of the worst. It was silly for us to take him at 12. Well, you guys look silly now because, like, look at him, 2 games of, 300 plus yards and X amount of touchdowns. Like, Sean Payton's out to prove a point this year. Not just he's going to make the Broncos competitive, which he's already done, but he's going to make everybody eat crow that said Bo Nix ain't the guy at 12. Like, that's his goal for the year, or at least one of his goals, in my opinion. He's going to make all these people eat crow, and you got to do that against the bad teams, and the Raiders are a bad team. But with that said, moving on to the next thing, Mohammed, I wanted to get your take on this. Now, we talked about it a little earlier, but yesterday on the injury report, Zach Allen did pop up. I can't remember. I think he was limited yesterday. It said rest
Question.
day / I think heel or something. He popped up on Wednesday, then didn't really see nothing on Thursday, but then Friday he popped back up and he's questionable for the game tomorrow. honestly, I'm not too worried about Zach Allen not playing. I mean, come on, it's the Raiders. Like their offensive line's atrocious. Like you'll be fine. Like if there's one game the rest of the season, I'm perfectly fine. Zach Allen not playing, it would be against the Raiders. Like if he has to sit out a week for him to be healthy to go up against the Browns, the Colts, the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Chiefs, I'd rather him just rest this week because we'll be able to get home with freaking even even if Zach Allen's not playing, we'll be able to get home with 4 against that Raiders garbage offensive line. But what were your thoughts on that initially when you saw that, Mohammed?
I mean, I think he was on the report last week as well, right? Zach Allen, I
I
think.
don't remember. I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
mean, I was a little concerned, Eddie, but it's like you said, this is the Raiders. Like, I'm sure Vance Joseph, your favorite coach, would have would have some kind of like he'll scheme something, against him, even if he doesn't play. And like you said, if he's not 100%, I would rather for him to sit, because we're gonna need him in the future, But I wouldn't be worried about it. To be honest with you, Eddie.
No, like this is the time for your young guys like Jordan Jackson and Awazarike or I can't remember who the backup is, the Zach Allen, but this is the time for him to step up and maybe get some reps, show that I mean, he's on the roster, we know he belongs, but maybe he could show out and have a good game tomorrow against the Raiders. But like I said, with the game we got 6 games left. Like the Colts have a solid offensive line. I say the Chargers do, the Bengals do, the Chiefs do, the Browns do. Like I said, like if there's the Raiders are the worst offensive line we face for the rest of the season. Like if Zach Allen doesn't play tomorrow, I'm fine with it because I think we'll still get after the quarterback even without Zach Allen against this Raiders offense. But with that said, I wanted to get your thoughts on this too, Mohammed. So all week, Reynolds and Sanders were full participants. And then yesterday, when the injury report came out, they were full and they were listed as out. Like, should we be concerned about the fact that Reynolds, he's been full all week? I think he was full last week too. Same with Sanders, was full last week, full this week, and they still are out. Like, should we be concerned about this? Should Broncos country be concerned?
I don't know, Eddie. Like I was doing my own research. I really couldn't find anything that would tell me why Sean is doing this. If they're full, why aren't you playing them? I don't know, Eddie. We'll see. I guess next week if they're still out, then I'll probably be concerned. But it is a little weird that they're showing us full, but out for the game. It's weird.
It just confused. Like Josh Reynolds, I can maybe make the case for only for the fact that over the last couple of weeks since Reynolds has been out, Sutton's been getting a little bit better. Vele, he's been getting a lot more touches and been getting better. Marvin Mims, same thing. Troy Franklin, like they got 4 good receiver, or I shouldn't say, you know, well they're good. I think Franklin, Mims, Vele, the young guys they're good. And then you got Sutton, who's your number 2, your best receiver on the roster.
Yeah.
Am I crazy that they're just leaving Josh Reynolds out just to play the young guys? Like, I think that's what Sean Payton's doing. Like, if he's been a full participant for the last 2 weeks, why is he not out there? The last time we saw him was what game was it? It was a game that we played and we kicked the ever living crap out of whoever it was. I think it was the Raiders. Was
Hmm.
the last game we saw of Josh Reynolds. And he like I can understand him being out because they want to give the young guys more touches. But I mean, like you don't have to put him out. You just don't have to use him as much. He can be active on game day and ready to go. Doesn't mean you have to put him in the on the field. Maybe for a play here or there, fine. But you don't have to put him as out. That doesn't make any sense to me. And Drew Sanders, like maybe they're just trying to be a little extra cautious. Like, yes, he's been full, but maybe Sean just like, yeah, I'm not really ready to put him out there because he like what was it, April? He tore his
Achilles. Yeah.
ACL.
Hmm.
So what was that like? What was that like 7 or 6, 8 months ago or something like that? I can't remember off the top of my head. But it typically takes a full calendar year for people to. So maybe Sanders is just he's not like he's practicing fully, but Sean's just like, yeah, I want to keep him off the field in the game because we don't want that to happen. I don't know. It's just really weird to me. Like I would like Sanders. It'd be great to see him, but maybe they're just a little cautious with him. Reynolds, I wish we could see him out there. Like I said, even if you're not going to use him that much, you'd still have him on there for a few, couple of downs here and there. You can
I
still
see.
give the guys plenty of reps.
Yeah, I mean, if it's what you're saying about playing the young guys, maybe you could have shopped him around and traded him if you don't want him. You should just keep him. I don't know, Eddie. It's a
I
little
don't.
weird.
It's weird. It is weird. I just I don't understand it personally. Um, it's really I don't know, man. But moving on. I want before we get onto our predictions here for in a second, Mohammed. I kind of want to get your take on this. We got 6 games left. Okay, 6. Like I said, we got the Raiders in Las Vegas tomorrow. Then you got the Browns on Monday Night Football. Then you got your bye week. I'm pretty sure the Broncos are going to go 2-0 in these next 2 games. They're going to beat the Browns at home. They're going to beat the Raiders tomorrow in Vegas. The Broncos are going to be sitting at, I think, what is it, 8-5, I believe. They'll be sitting at 8-5 by their bye week. And then you come out of the bye, your last, wait, yeah, no, wait. No, you got 5 games left. I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind. You got 5 games left. You got 2 before the bye, and you got 3 after the bye.
Mhm.
So after, or no, I'm right. You got 6. Man, I'm losing it today because you got the Colts in there. I'm sorry. Uh, you got, like I said, the Raiders tomorrow, which you'll probably win that game. Then you got the Browns on Monday Night Football. You're going to win that game, and you'll be 8-5 going into the bye. You come out of the bye. You got the Colts here at home, who are a good team. Like honestly, I'd say the Colts and the Falcons are probably about even. They're probably about the same, in my opinion. So I think you take out the Colts, you'll be sitting at 9-5 there, and you know, um, and then you got the Chargers, which that game, by the way, I'm sure you've seen, has been flexed to Thursday night.
Yeah.
Week 16's game against the Chargers in Los Angeles has been flexed to Thursday night football. Then you got the Bengals on the road, and then you close the season out here at home against the Chiefs. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, man. It's very possible the Broncos can win these last 6 games and go 12-5. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I really don't. But I think the most games you're probably going to lose in that span is maybe 2. But with that said, what do you see through the rest of the season? Like, do you think the Broncos have a chance at making the playoffs?
Yes, I do think they're gonna make the playoffs. The only team that worries me, Eddie, is the Chargers. Not even worried about the Chiefs or the Bengals, to be honest with you. But the Chargers, for some reason, they just match up pretty well against the Broncos. But you're not crazy if you say we win all them games. Yes, it's very possible. I mean, we almost beat the Chiefs. It wasn't for that blocked field goal. Bengals, I'm not really yeah.
It
Yeah,
was a
but
baseball movement, man.
I know that's just gonna stay. We gotta beat them. Like if we do beat them in the last game, then we'll forget about that
Yep.
situation. You would. But yeah, I mean that's probably the only game I would be worried about. So maybe like maybe 11. You know, maybe winning 11, ending the season with 11 wins.
Okay.
Well,
So, with that said, coming to the point of the video where, the whole point of this video is to give our predictions. What is your prediction for tomorrow's game against the Raiders?
so Eddie, I got the Broncos winning it 31-13. So it's like the numbers are flipped.
Okay. And that's not a bad take, man. 31-13. What is that by a couple, like 3 touchdowns? I think that is, or close to it, somewhere around there. Um, Mine is probably gonna blow people out of the water. Now,
I knew it.
I
Go ahead.
know I know a lot of people will say this is a divisional game. Divisional games are always harder. Like they're always a lot closer. And I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Yeah, these teams do know each other a little bit better. But I mean, come on, man. Like at some point you gotta realize, yeah, you might know this team, but there's certain things that they're gonna do that you're not gonna be ready for. That's any team. It doesn't matter if it's a division rival, conference rival, or whatever. But I got the Broncos winning this game tomorrow, 41-10. They're
I
gonna
knew
freaking
it.
destroy
I
the
knew you were
Raiders.
gonna say something like that. I knew. I had this feeling. I don't know. I'm
I,
surprised
I,
you
I,
say 50
after
points. Or,
what I saw last week against a better opponent, a a better coach team in the Falcons. a better quarterback in Kirk Cousins from Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, whoever's going to be starting tomorrow, and a team that has better weapons. Like I said, you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. There's a few other players in there I'm sure I'm forgetting. A defense I think is a lot better. Yeah, you got Max Crosby, cool. But the Falcons had freaking Matthew Judon. They had Justin Simmons and what's his name? Bates in the back. They had AJ Terrell. And this team just freaking hosed them. And the Raiders are so much worse. They are so much worse. And it's not even just about the lack of talent on the roster. And Antonio Pierce, in my opinion, he's an idiot. Like the guy can't coach. He can't. Like maybe last year, I think last year with him coaching, being the interim head coach, I think that was more of a, okay, we got rid of the cancer in the locker room and, Josh McDaniels. So the Raiders played their hearts out. They did the same thing with Rich Bisaccia a few years ago. John Gruden stepped down and it was just like a new energy in the building. That happens with any team. You usually, you can even say the Broncos in 2022 after they fired Hackett. Like those last two games, yeah, they won one, they lost one, but they came out with more fight in those two games. They had the energy. And Antonio Pierce, I just don't think is a good head coach. I think who is it? Raheem Morris for the Falcons is a better coach. The Falcons had a better quarterback. They had better weapons, a better offensive line. They had a better defense. The Raiders are like literally bottom tier, like 30 to 32 in the NFL in almost every statistical category. We're going to destroy them.
That's
we
music.
already beat them.
Anytime you say things like that about the Raiders, just music to me. Go ahead.
Well, and the reason why I say that is because what was the score, last time against the Raiders? It was 34-18. Like we gave up a garbage time touchdown, whatever. Like last week, dude. Like they only gave up 6 points. Like they could not even move the ball, even towards the end of the game when the Broncos had the game locked in. It was done. It was over. They're like, nah, we're gonna keep our foot on the gas. You ain't getting nothing. I feel like as the season progresses, Bo Nix has gotten better. This defense is not going to take its foot off the gas, and I feel like they're going to hold the Raiders to 10 points. Like they're not even garbage time touchdowns. They're not going to let the Raiders get them this time. The Raiders are going to get at the most, like at the most. That is the peak of what I think they're going to get against this defense. And Bo Nix, I think he has another spectacular game. I think he goes for over, like I said, 300 yards again. And I think he goes for another 3 to 4 touchdowns in this game. No interceptions. And maybe even rushes for one. Like, I'm that confident in how bad the Raiders are and how poorly coached they are. This is just going to be a flat out ass whipping. Like, it's going to be embarrassing. Like, the Raider fans are like, oh, we're tanking. We're trying to get Shador. But even if that's the case, even if you're tanking, you don't, like, even last year, I mean, the Broncos were still competitive, but we got 70 hung on us. Like, dude, there was no silver lining from that. None. I can't think back to one thing I could have been like, well, at least we have this to look forward to. Nothing. That's how this game is going to be for tomorrow for the Raiders. I mean, they might still have the quarterback thing, but as far as, people that they can see on the roster develop or, can Antonio Pierce still be the guy? None of that's going to be the case tomorrow. The Broncos are going to have full control of this game all game, and the Raiders are just going to look like a high school JV football team out there. So 41-10, my prediction. Muhammad, you said 31-13. I mean, I got the Broncos scoring 10 more points and 3 less points for the Raiders.
So, I mean, your predictions were right last time, so.
I don't remember what I picked my prediction to be last week. I knew it was in the 30s. I just don't exactly remember what I said.
I think I had the Broncos winning 24-10 or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I think I said like 33 or 32. Yeah, I think I said the Falcons get like 17 or something. I can't remember. The Falcons, I wasn't even close. Like they didn't even get a single touchdown.
Yeah,
which is why
coming at all. Oh my God, they were harassed by our defense, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this defense is only getting better every single week. And one more thing I want to touch on before we get out of here, Mohammed. I want to get your thoughts on this. Nick Bonito is 1 sack away from having 10 and being the first Bronco since I think 2019, Von Miller, to get double-digit sacks. What is your thoughts on that? And do you think he does it this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get not probably a couple, not just one. Man, he's a rising star. Nick Benito. Mile has salute to him, man. He's doing a fantastic job. Hope and I think by the end of the season, it's really gonna have more. Definitely gonna be among the Pro Bowlers, maybe like 100 players, something like that. I see him doing that,
Well,
but he's gonna get it.
Nick Benito has been getting at least one sack in every single game. I think for like the past 8 games or something like that. I can't remember, maybe 9. But if that trend continues, if Nick Benito every game for the rest of the season, there's 6 games left, he gets a sack. He might even get more, but if he gets at least one sack in every game for the rest of the season, that's 6 more sacks. That will put him at, I believe, 15 sacks on the year. If he just gets one more sack per game. If he has another game like he did last week where he had 2 sacks, which tomorrow could be the day.
Yeah.
Heck, with that offensive line for the Raiders, he might go off and have 3 sacks.
Mhm.
And then he's sitting there at 12 sacks for the year and then still got 5 more games. Like if he's got like 12 sacks and 5 more games left, dude, it's not crazy to say that if say he gets a 3 sack game tomorrow. I'm not predicting that, but just say hypothetically he gets 3 sacks tomorrow. And you got 5 more games left in the season. And Bo Nix. Nick Benito gets one sack in each game, the last 5 games of the season, just gets one sack. By the end of the year, he would be sitting at 17 sacks.
That would be crazy, Eddie.
And if that happens, I'm not going to lie, Mohammed. If that happens, then I take back what I said earlier in the year. I mean, depth would be fine, but we ain't going to need a star pass rusher in the draft or free agency. We got him on the roster already in Nick Benito. If he can get to 17 this year, in my opinion.
Eddie,
And then
he's relentless. He just keeps coming. He doesn't get tired. That's the thing about him. Like he just keeps coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
And and also that would be good for the Broncos. Like not just for the fact that we just got our we got our new elite pass rusher here in Nick Benito, but that also takes away that you don't have to worry about getting that guy in the draft. You don't have to waste a draft pick. You can use those draft picks for if that happens, if Nick Benito becomes that elite pass rusher, and I was looking back on it. I think honestly they need to sign Bowles to a 2-year deal. Like if he wants to play 2 more years, sign him and let him retire here. Keep the freaking offensive line together.
I don't.
Huh?
2 years? I can't, man.
I would. The reason why is because then you would have this. You would have next year and the year after to where you're like, okay, we have our solution at left tackle. We ain't got to worry about that for a couple years, and you can go into the draft. Get yourself a tight end, get yourself a wide receiver, maybe get yourself another running back or, an inside linebacker, something we desperately need to cover, tight ends over the middle. Like, and maybe even possibly a center. Like, I mean, I like Luke Wattenberg, but I don't know if he's going to, we just got to see how he plays these last 6 games, if he's going to be the future at center or not. And because we know Alex Forsythe, I think, going to be that guy. But I want the Broncos to have as many picks, less positions to worry about this year in the draft. Nick Benito, rising star, sign Garrett Bowles to a 2-year deal. Keep that offensive line intact for another couple of years. Give yourself that leeway. Because I guarantee you, if Bowles takes a 2-year deal, it's not going to be expensive. It's going to be a cheap deal. If he wants to stay in Denver and he's older, he'll take a cheaper deal, I'm pretty sure.
You're just
and then you can use, and then you can use those assets to go get more weapons, better weapons. Like you can go get a T. Higgins in free agency and draft a receiver or draft a tight end or whatever. I want them to surround Bo Nix with as many weapons as possible.
I mean, Eddie, I agree with
you. Offensive line together.
I mean, you're right. I mean, decent if they sign him. I just don't trust him, Eddie. Like I just can never be not worried about a game where he starts holding or doing something crazy.
Yeah, but I'd be more scared than especially with it being Bo Nix's blind side. I'd be more scared of putting a rookie in there right now. With Bo Nix still trying to develop next year, even if he, Bo Nix is going to develop the rest of this year, and if he's still going to be developing. Quarterbacks develop. It takes even if he's playing well, it still takes them 3 years at most. For them to actually really get everything down. And I don't want a rookie tackle out there, a young tackle out there getting beat consistently and getting Bo Nix just absolutely freaking destroyed. Like I said it a couple weeks ago, like I would rather have Bowles out there because at least, he's a vet and he's actually gotten better throughout the last couple of years. But if he has an occasional hold to where Bo Nix ain't going to get murdered, I'm fine with it. Like, I'd rather take the hold and the penalty yards than our quarterback, our franchise quarterback, get absolutely just destroyed. And then, like, he's out for, like, X amount of games. Like, that scares
Yeah,
me.
you
And a
got it.
rookie, and a rookie is probably going to, he's a rookie. He's going to have those struggles to
And we
where
could,
he's probably, I mean, huh?
no, I was saying that you're right. I mean, we could sign him to a deal, and then not this draft. The one after that, we can maybe draft
Yeah. Draft
somebody.
yourself a tackle and let him sit behind Bowles for a year, let him learn. And then, but, in year two of his, young NFL career, then he can come in and probably be solidified at that tackle position. And Garrett Bowles is what, 33? I think maybe he has maybe 2 more years left in him, and then he's probably going to call it quits.
Yeah,
And we all know he wants to retire a Broncos. So he might as well just do it and just have it solidified for the next couple of years. Draft a guy, next year, maybe in the second round or first round, if you feel comfortable enough with that, and let him sit behind Bowles for a year and learn. And then that way, whenever he comes in, you know, he won't be as raw. You know what I mean? So, but great show night tonight, Mohammed. Of course, we're gonna be back tomorrow, guys. To do our show after the game and talk about the game and everything that happens. I'm sure me and Mohammed are gonna have a lot to talk about tomorrow, and we're gonna be really, really happy. All of Broncos country is gonna be excited tomorrow because we're gonna blow the freaking Raiders out, and we're gonna have so much to talk about tomorrow. But that's our predictions. Mine 41 to 10. Mohammed, you said 31 to 13. I guess we'll find out tomorrow who's closer. But everybody, please like, comment, subscribe on this video, and like I said, hit that bell notification for tomorrow when we go live. You'll know, and you can come in and watch. But Mohammed, I'm excited, man. I can't wait for tomorrow to beat the Raiders.
absolutely, man. The Raiders
So,
suck always, always.
so are the Chiefs. Boo. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's it for us tonight, guys. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.